So it's a little bit strange, this Facebook Live right now, because they've changed the settings. I think literally overnight or in the last few days, it may not look significantly different for yourself. Luke Hamill, huge thanks for joining me. So I said to Luke, how can we give you as much value on the video as possible? And literally we were discussing what you've been up to this year, what you're going to be doing, and the value of networking as well. So because of Section 24 tax changes, your strategies changed completely compared to
quite a lot.
A few years ago. You've, should we say, downsized? Is that the right word?
Quite a lot.
Downsized, and literally looking at changing strategies, looking at the developer market, and networking for you is so important, and for me as well. Look, we're all looking for different things. I'm not looking for the same thing as Luke, not at the moment. Maybe 10 years down the road, 5 years, who knows. But right now, Luke, you're keen. You were discussing to me about, you didn't use the word joint ventures, and it doesn't have to be a classic joint venture, because crowdfunding is huge. So it may be using the crowd in terms of a structure, but in terms of connecting with the right people at networking events, or it's wrong to say the right people. Everyone's the right person, but it's the right person for the right time, wouldn't you say, Luke? So briefly, I said why 21st of September is the most important date in September. Of course, there's other important dates as well. 13th is my morning meet, 14th is my evening meet in Wandsworth, 21st is the evening meet in London Bridge. And Chris Porter, service accommodation, one of the big trends right now, speaking on that subject. And I've got an amazing architect. He's worked with some of the most noted people in the UK in terms of property, Martin Skinner. So not Martin speaking that particular night, although to be fair, it wouldn't surprise me if Martin pops in to the meet. I can't guarantee it, but usually when you see people who are associated with Martin, he usually pops through the door. So Matt Cartwright, really huge time for Matt Cartwright. 12 Architects have done huge projects overseas in Russia, also worked with Martin. But Luke, the key thing is going back to you, and look, I'm really delighted to have Luke, who co-hosts Central London, Nicholas, who co-hosts Wandsworth, and they're both, you're quite different to Nicholas. Nicholas is, I was going to say Nicholas is really laid back, and that means you're not laid back, but you've got different styles of doing things. And Nicholas is definitely, I wouldn't say, looking at speaking or in front of hundreds of people usually, or anything like that, where you're much more trained into that background and so forth. But Luke, the value of networking, so obviously you come to my meets to meet the right people, but people listening to this video, and hopefully there's not too much background noise as well, so we might have to speak up slightly. But what do you do to connect with people, Luke? Because it's about connecting then and there, making sure people then connect with you at the next stage.
Just to follow up between the meetings. So it's even last meeting, I've followed up with a couple of people since then. So it's useful, and you never know. You just keep on building the relationship, and whether you can find something that fits with you, fits with that person. You've got to, first and foremost, you've got to get on with them, but obviously find out what they're doing, and if it fits something that where you're weak. Like, I'm not particularly good at technology, and need sort of help with that type of thing. And
when you say you're not particularly good at technology, what do you mean by that, Luke?
Systemizing it, or like the service accommodation type, and where you've got a higher turnover. So the person that I was meeting is quite systemized with this. So on his phone, he develops apps. So he is literally booking in for months ahead his service accommodation rooms. So that's what I mean. It was like really interesting to see someone that's got that on his phone, but not only that, has developed it. So
okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting. So look, I haven't confirmed all the people for October, November in terms of speakers. What I do know is there was huge interest in the event which took place in Wandsworth with Alex Harrington Griffin. He chaired a panel which was focused on the younger property professionals, and I definitely want to bring that back into the Central London evening meet, whether it's towards the end of the year or early next year.
The
So
panel events are always superb. We always get a lot of attendees, a lot of interest, a lot of feedback from those.
So, but in terms of answering that question, what can people do? But potentially, it might be the first time they've been to an event. You know, maybe their life has changed in the last, few months. Maybe something's changed, or maybe they're changing strategy like you. Okay, network is really, really key, but it's also, where's your vision, Luke?
I think
well?
that it's a key thing to have a vision and then keep coming to network events. So a good thing I know that you do, the event where people just pay for a year. So I would say the first thing people should do is just commit to it. Because not only that, we've always got so many decisions to make. And I think it was Steve Jobs taught me in his book about decisions and just minimise the amount of decisions, which is why he always used to wear those black t-shirts. So yeah, having no decisions to make, because it just wears out the muscle that makes your decisions and it gives you less energy for the important decisions. So I'd say that's a key thing. Book in, come to our event, your event that you run, and I'm lucky enough to co-host with you. But just book that, because when I look back over time, it's been you can't expect things to happen immediately. But you need some way to make sure that things do keep happening, so that you do keep moving forward. So that's why I would say it's really, really key, and don't expect miracles from the first Central London property network you might come along, but then you just keep on coming and you just build your network. And we're in Central London, it's just too easy. It's not a sales fest. You're not going to be like most of the networking events out there clearly are, because they're there to bring you into a funnel where you will be sold, and that's what it's about. And
I just want to focus though on goals, and one thing you're really strong on, Luke, is this. People talk about annual goals, or more than annual, monthly goals, weekly goals, and then people go down to daily goals. And it was fascinating spending some time with Stuart Melody as well. Sorry if you don't see much me in the screen. It's a little bit tricky, the angle as well today.
It's a bit hot here.
Certainly is hot.
Closer to you, I feel the heat coming off you.
But it was interesting spending time with Stuart Melody last week, and literally looking at how he takes a picture of his whiteboard. He literally writes down what he plans to do per hour for the day ahead. But just looking at goals, and goals are really key to everyone, of course, but you talk about not being systematic, but I think you're really systematic in goals, Luke, from what I understand, spending time with
it's relative. I mean, I say I'm not. I don't see myself, but I suppose compared to how I was, I definitely am, and that's through being in the group and being around people that make you think about more habits, that are success habits. And one of those, it's clearly you need to know where you're going, have a plan for it, and just coming off. I think we've come back.
Oh, did we go offline there?
We're back.
Okay, I think
probably been off the whole time.
I think we're
just talking to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's all right, and carry on chatting.
I'm not sure if we are. It does say live. Look, I just want to leave it as that for the moment, because there's a lot more which you can give, I'm sure, and that's a joy of coming to me. And I would suggest, if you are coming along to the 21st of September, or any meet, whether it's the one which Luke co-hosts with me or the one which Nicholas co-hosts with me. I know Nicholas, one thing which I really like about Nicholas is his door is open. There was a guy who came to my meet about 2 months ago. It's unlikely Nicholas is going to do any direct business through that client or person. Yeah, Nicholas really opened the door and said, let's meet up for coffee beforehand. Yeah. So look, maybe some event organisers or some co-hosts may say, look, we're busy, we can't meet up. But if I can give you one tip going forward, see if you can connect with that co-host beforehand. See if you can catch up with a lunch or early dinner, or even just a coffee or tea before the actual meet as well. So look, Nicholas doesn't get enough praise. I just want to say, Nicholas, huge thanks for spending time. I never even asked Nicholas to do that, but that was fantastic.
Do you want to talk about your the pass that you do? Because I don't think you give that enough attention and value.
The pass
in the past.
Yeah, so that includes the summit coming up in January 2018. It includes
a whole day, right?
It's a whole day.
How many speakers and?
Well, it's a good question. So
past
past experience, January we had about 15 experts, and I think June something like 14 experts.
100 in the room.
About 100 in the room at both meets, and I do give opportunities for members as well to come together.
And the cost of that, when you're just offering that out, is
well, the cost of the individual event for January and June, I think they were the lowest price ticket was 47. Then it went up and up. I think it went over £100 for both January and June. I would say it's not just about the summit though, the value of the pass, and it's really depending what you want to do. But if you want to make a regular commitment and come on a regular basis, have a look at the pass. Luke, I just want to say huge thanks for taking time out today. I want to say huge thanks for taking time out as well, whether you're taking time out right now or whether you've taken time out already. Maybe you've watched the video interviews which I've done. I know Luke was, it's scary sometimes, but you don't know who's watching these videos, but Luke was saying he watched the video with Jenny Thompson, who's the planner, and huge thanks for doing that, Luke. And Luke was giving me some feedback on that and just saying, you know, how great an interview it was. Look, I'm not the world's best interviewer. That's not my skill set as such. I've interviewed.
You're getting better, mate.
I've interviewed about 100 plus people, maybe more than that. I would say
you're
if you
expert compared to most.
Possibly compared to most, yeah. And if we look at the amount of time in terms of those interviews as well, what I would say
is it 15,000 hours?
Well,
probably got to do about
over 16.
14,000.
What
be a genius.
What I do know is that over 16,000 views on on
doesn't
that.
count though, does it? It's your hours.
Yeah, I understand.
That'd be good. We could be genius.
All I say though is, if you've got an interesting story to share, you're involved in property, maybe you're like Sam, you said, who's created an app. You know, get in touch. I'm interested in literally having some speakers who may not necessarily be on the speaking circuit. That's important for me.
Totally, because it's like if you want to come along, do get in touch with. If you're not that confident to speak, we can definitely kind of fit you into some sort of a panel event or like a question type thing. You don't have to be super confident.
No, because Luke was discussing beforehand, you know, a potential speaker, not a prolific speaker or anything like that. That's not necessarily what I'm interested in. And as I say,
we want value. There's a lot of just speakers that are good at waffling and then not giving you enough, but you've got to buy something to get some more. But that's not what this event is.
And sometimes it's some of the people who you're not expecting the most from who really deliver. As I say, Mikko Laukkanen really gave an amazing presentation in June.
We've done some stuff. We haven't quite done a job, but Mikko's fantastic, and we're working on sites quite close, ironically, right now.
So that's, and as I say, even Amber this morning was not expecting anything really special. Gary, huge thanks for joining me. I'd love to join you, Gary, as well at some point. So look, if your door is open for us to connect by video, maybe doing a video interview, do get in touch. Luke, is there anything else you just want to add on this beautiful bank holiday weekend?
No, just glad to be outside, and thanks for coming along here. We're going to see a friend in the hospital, Homerton, so it's good to catch up with you and get this video, which we should have done last week. So we look forward to the next event and see all of you there.
Thank you, and thank you.
Thanks.